how can I be a more fun parent while still raising good kids? The background is, for context, I am married to an amazing guy. He's the father of both of our kids. We share the responsibilities of raising and disciplining our kiddos when need be. But my husband is super creative when it comes to playing with the kids, where I am more tightly wound, and I cannot seem to relax. I've taken advice from your show. We've purchased the Questions for Humans family editions, incorporated biweekly breakfast dates before school with the kiddos. I purchased books. But there are times during my one-on-ones with my kids that I feel like my body is just pulling me away and just shutting down. So I want my kids to see that I can also relax and be fun and it not just be dad.
Dude, you're awesome.
Thanks. I don't feel like it some days.
I know. But I want you to hear what you're able to do. I mean, this is usually like 5 months of therapy. You're able to have a picture of who you think you want to be. And I'll challenge that picture in a second, but I love that you have one. And you also aren't burning your husband down because he happens to be the thing that you wish you were. Because that's usually what most people do. It's easy to be like, he never did. But you're like, no, I'm going to be fair. He is a great husband, and he's also obnoxiously fun, and it drives me crazy, but I love it, right? And
he's the best.
You're able to feel your own body as it's doing what it's doing to try to keep you safe. And the tragedy here is it's trying to keep you safe when you are under the direct gaze of one of your kids, and we'll get into that. But most people they just blame and blame and blame. And for you to be this self-aware is amazing. So you're awesome. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Good call. That tells me you've done a ton of work and introspective work, just thinking through all this stuff. So good for you. All right, I'm going to throw a couple of questions up against the wall, okay? Let's see what sticks, okay?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Depending on where I think this is going to go, this could be hilarious and really awkward. Is that okay?
Totally fine.
You positive?
Positive.
All right, same team. I'm not trying to be weirdo, but I'm being serious, okay?
Okay.
But also I'm smiling. Don't go into like super graphic detail, but give me a high level time you just wowed your husband. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if we were talking from his perspective, that would be every day. His comment is a lot of times that I'm a sight for sore eyes, and I'm like, I don't see that.
Uh-huh. Forget he didn't get a vote on this one.
I know.
You.
Oh, gosh. I honestly can't pinpoint. Like if we go out for a date night, like, obviously I'll put more effort into getting dressed up and,
sure,
making myself look nice. So, I mean, like if we're going to pinpoint something, I could say that for sure.
No. I'm talking about like, I'm going to be comically sexual and I'm going to blow his mind.
That would probably be like on a random day that I will text him like, okay, like, hey, when we get home, this is the plan for tonight. Like,
okay.
Kids need to go to bed early. Like we've taken those cues from your show.
Okay.
And tried to incorporate that because, having 2 kids is hectic.
Of course. It's mayhem. Yeah. And does he love that?
Oh, he does. He plays right back with him.
Cool. And when he plays back, does that light you up or does that make you start to disappear in your own body?
No, it lights me up.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. So, all right, that's question number 1. So I know that's, you don't sound like a person like me, like at the dinner table. And I'm like, hey, like, anyway, I bet our dinner conversations are very different. And I love that. Okay.
No, my husband is more like you.
Okay. All right. So here's the second thing. What evidence do you have that you're not fun?
I think it's when I can just see my kids more gravitate towards my husband for like the fun outlet. I'm more the one they come to for the conversations of like, I like somebody in school or I'm having difficulty in school with a particular individual. So I think we're both safe spaces, but it seems like they'll gravitate more towards him for the fun. And sometimes I feel like I kind of get left out.
All right. So as you're saying that, in my house, as you can imagine, I have the same dynamic. And my dream is one day my kids will be like, Dad, I super am in love with some guy or some girl. And they don't. They go to my wife. You know when they come to me? When my daughter goes, Dad, it's time for couch fight, part 2.
Yeah.
And then she attacks me on the couch and jumps off the thing and then we're in WWE. And then my son comes by and, like, he bumps me, I bump him back. And then now we're like, hey, Dad, you want to go fishing? Yeah, let's do that. Hey, Dad, you want to go wrestle in the backyard? Yeah, let's do that. Hey, Mom, I'm really struggling. And I'm like, hey, why don't you talk to me about this? What I do for a living? And they're like, yeah, whatever, Dad. And so I'm asking you, I would love to be in your position. So what is it about this position? Hey, Mom, couch fight. Now it's time. And your first thought is, oh, I don't want to mess up the cushions, right? Or, hey, you have homework to do. Or, hey, I don't want to mess something up. Last night we were watching, it was the 100 years of the Opry, right? And so they had all these old country stars, and I think I've talked on this show. My son is obsessed with 90s country. And it was just like, coming up next, Garth Brooks, coming up next, Clint Black, coming up next. And he goes to bed pretty early, and I was like, dude, you're staying up for this one. He's like, oh, yeah. And my wife's like, he's got to go to bed. And then the next one would come up and be like, coming up next, Garth Brooks. I'm like, Hank, you got to watch it. Anyway, it'd be like an hour and a half later, and I was like, he's got to live. And she's like, he's got to, right? But all three of us were laughing the whole time. So I'm asking you, like, what is it about your role that feels sacred and holy for your kids as a not in a religious sense, but like as a place for them to land? And you're like, no, I want this one.
Can you ask me that a different way?
Yeah. What is it about your kids trusting you enough with their inner world that you don't like that role as much as you would like to just be able to throw water balloons at them?
I think it's going back to constantly having conversations with them of, you can tell me anything. I may be upset, but I'm never going to be angry.
Okay. I know, but you would rather them say, hey, Mom, let's do couch fight.
No, not all the time.
Okay.
I do like the role, but occasionally I realize that, like, that's where Dad maybe shines. Like, I'll come home and there's boxes all over the living room and they've made a tunnel.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, and I'm like, that's awesome. But then I feel like, oh, I wish I could have thought of that.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I've struggled.
Where's that voice? Where's that voice come from?
I would 100% say it comes from my childhood of not having a present parental figure who wanted to play with me. It was always like, hey, you need to go on your own and figure things out, or go find friends.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like I'm lacking in that area.
Okay. So hear me say this in like same team, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of those things, like, I heard a comedian say, like, he was just making fun of, like, how do you lose weight? Like, diet and exercise. Like, it sounds so easy, but it's like $1 trillion industry, right?
Right.
It's the solution here is actually incredibly simple, but it only is going to work if you give yourself a ton of grace, because it's going to feel awkward.
Right.
Okay? Simple as this. That angst, that kind of feeling frozen, like I feel like, well, I want to do something fun, but I don't even know what to do. And then all of a sudden your husband comes in and everybody's wearing oven mitts and they're slapping each other with them. And you're like, I would have never thought of that, right? And everyone's laughing, having fun. And you're like, I wish I could. It is you literally plotting it out. Wednesday afternoon, I'm going to have a bucket of water balloons. And when my kids, I'm going to say, hey, can y'all come outside real quick? I'm going to have a bucket behind the door for them. And I'm just going to be on the other side of the yard. And I'm just going to start letting them have it. And it's going to feel awkward. I'm going to feel like this isn't going to work. I'm going to feel weird. I don't want to get wet, like whatever the thing. And then here's the magic. Go try it anyway.
Right.
I'm going to go buy 5 sticks of butter, and me and my kids are going to have a butter carving contest, and whoever wins gets a bag of Kit Kat. Like something absurd, right? Just ridiculous. But yeah. I am going to just be ridiculous. We're going to have a mayonnaise carving contest. And like whatever the weird thing is, it kind of like this. Like whenever you have 2 kids, like the old marriage adage is like, you can have sex on the calendar or you can not have it. But the days of like y'all just winking at each other and it's like 9:00 and you're having a beer and like let's just like that's over. Like you got 2 kids running around, like everything's tired. But you still want to be together, right? So we're gonna put on the calendar. Same here. You're practicing your way into this. And
that makes sense.
It's a matter of just giving yourself permission. And here's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping you begin, not teach your mind, because your mind knows. We have to teach your body that's still running on 7-year-old you technology. That it wasn't okay to be silly. Parents, dads aren't supposed to be silly with their kids. Moms aren't silly with their kids. Moms aren't a part of the fun stuff, right? I want your body to begin to feel how fun it is and how hilarious it is. There's going to be some days you get tired and your kids, y'all going to be making jokes and you're just going to start crying. That's okay. Or one of your kids, y'all going to be whapping each other with, I don't know, paper towel rolls or something, and someone's going to get hurt and then you're instantly going to be 9 again. You're not supposed to do that. That's okay. We're just practicing our way into being silly.
Yeah.
And on the other side, can I throw a counterweight to this whole conversation?
Sure.
My wife has reminded me over the 23 years of being married, I get to be silly and wild and crazy because the mental load she carries all of the time.
I didn't think about it like that.
And sometimes your body may not be letting you just cut loose because it is carrying every doctor and dentist appointment and can't wear this color on this day at school, but this other kid's got to do this at school, and don't forget next week is this, and there's a parent conference, and braces just fell out, and the dog needs to get, and then dad comes home from work, and he's had, his mental load is much less. And so it's really been helpful in my house to sit down and say, okay, let me take some of the mental load from you. And that actually like literally frees up space for creativity and excitement and fun. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your husband can be amazing and have no idea what you're carrying. Why? Do you know who my dentist is? I don't. I have no idea. I forget every time. Every time. And like, I can't tell you the number of times I've had to pay the extra $70 for new x-rays because I went to the wrong new place. And it would never have occurred to me to know like when my dentist is open and when they're not, like, I don't know. I just, you know what I mean? And so on the other side, you may have your dentist, kid's dentist, like this dentist doesn't work on Mondays, but this one does. And this one's recommending braces, but I need to talk about this one with this one cavity. And he has no idea. That doesn't make him a bad guy. It makes him uninformed.
No, I think you're right, because I've placed myself in that role with being a type A personality where I have to be in control and I have to see all of, like you said, the finances and the doctor's appointments and dentist appointments, that sometimes I forget that he can also carry that weight.
Yes, and you know what? And
he's asked.
It would be honoring to him. And that means you have to go all the way back to that 9-year-old girl and take a knee in front of her and let her know, hey, controlling every stray variable kept you safe as a kid.
It did.
And I'm sorry you had to do that. But now you got a ride or die partner. We made it. We made it. I married really well. We got a gang now.
Yeah.
And that thing that kept me safe as a kid is making me have less joy as an adult. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not sacrificing joy with these 2 knuckleheaded kids. The time I had with them is too short. And then let's be real intentional about practicing being silly, right? Practicing those, all right, when they get home, we're going to throw SpaghettiOs on each other in the backyard. I don't know what you're going to do, but just decide we're going to be silly. Hey, kids, we got some, I don't know, some old something, and we're going to cause some problems with it. Or get a couple of Zebco reels and say, we're going fishing. Do you know how to fish, Mom? Nope. And we're going to figure it out. And whoever wins gets to pick where we eat on the way home or whatever's going on. But we're going to schedule silly until our bodies feel, oh my gosh, this is so, so fun. And it's the same way I have to schedule intentionality. I have to schedule paying attention. And I always feel how good it feels when I get something done by the deadline. It just feels amazing.